This podcast episode is sponsored by Rap Life Apparel, a rap-inspired clothing brand. I just got my first batch of shirts the other day from Dusty over at Rap Life, and I gotta say I'm super impressed by the quality of the shirts. Super lightweight, great designs, and the shipping was just unbelievable. Head over to raplife.myshopify.com and use coupon code WRAPPEDUP to save yourself 5% at checkout. And remember, free shipping on orders over $25. Welcome to another episode of All Wrapped Up Podcast. Our guest today fell into the industry by accident. In the Metro Detroit area, he was a leading salesperson at a cell phone business. He took his drive and business knowledge and put it into a decal business out of his basement. After making a large profit in decals, he was left with overstock that he started selling on the internet. He has now grown to a 13,000 square foot warehouse with the second location in Nevada, and has become one of the largest online wrap suppliers. Please welcome Chris Ankawi. What's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to All Wrapped Up Podcast. We'll be interviewing industry-leading wrap companies to share tips, tricks, stories, and more. All right, so we'll go live now. We've got Chris Ankawi from Metro Restyling. What's going on, Chris?
Hey, what's up, Jeff?
Not much, brother. How was your day today?
Pretty busy day. I'm still at work right now. Actually, just clicking on these last few emails as we record this.
Nice. What did you have on the agenda today?
Today we have a couple new systems I'm putting in place. A new email system where our team can kind of chat within our own network. And I upgraded this system for training purposes, to help new employees kind of get in, and our employees will go in there and tell them, hey, check out this response. This is how you should respond. And then they can save that message and assign it to themselves so they can kind of read it. And then they can actually can the message and modify it to their way of responding. And, it just helps with training. So I'm always looking for new things to make the business more efficient. So that was one thing. And then, of course, you got sales, and a couple employees called in sick. So I was actually on the phones today for a little bit.
So you have like a small call center?
Yeah, I have about 5 sales reps, and we had a bad snowstorm.
Okay.
So, they didn't actually call in. They came in late. So they called in and said they're running a couple hours late. One of my, Matt Stump lives, he has like 10 acres. Okay. So he didn't check the weather, and he realizes, it's snowing. So he actually has this long 1/4-mile dirt road that he has to come out of. And when it snows, he's got a 300C. That thing gets stuck,
Oh, Jesus.
So, yeah, just, daily things you got to deal with as a business owner. But, you manage.
So today you were on a couple phone calls this morning, covering for a couple people?
Yeah, I always, if I'm ever slow, I like to try to get on the phone myself. It's just always good to know what's going on in the company. I mean, as a business owner, you can't always catch every single thing. I mean, if you're getting 300 calls a day, 150 emails, you just can't monitor all this stuff, and you don't really know 100% what's going on in your business. But every time I get on the phones, I'll catch something like, customers like, yeah, I sent an email a couple hours ago, and I'm just waiting on a response. And then that's how I catch things and try to improve. And we have like a rule, you need to respond during our business hours within 15 minutes of receiving emails and stuff like that. So it's always good to get involved in your business. If you just if you're one of those guys that just lets everybody handle everything, and you just sit back and like watch TV or something, your business will never grow. So I'm just one of them guys that's always involved. I always try to get involved. I don't care. I'm the owner of the company. I'll answer the phone. It's not a big deal to me. I don't look at it like I shouldn't. You know what I mean?
Talking about Metro, so how big is your facility? Like how do you run the full facility throughout your day?
So our main location is in Michigan. It's in the Metro Detroit area. It's 13,000 square feet. Our warehouse is 10,000, and we have 3,000 square feet for our office space. So this is our call center here.
Mm-hmm.
The bulk of our employees are at this facility. We do have another location in Nevada, in Las Vegas, and that's basically just a warehouse hub. To supply our customers faster on the West Coast
Mm-hmm.
in 1 to 2 days. So there's only a couple employees at that location that run the show, and that's pretty much a warehouse. Any calls or anything basically come into our Michigan call center,
Yeah.
and that's how we route the business.
And how many employees do you have in the Michigan
We
warehouse?
have about 10 here,
Okay.
10 employees here, and two in Nevada.
Wow.
And then we have a couple floaters, I call them. I'm a floater. I have a little office in Nevada. I like to go there, once every 2, 3 months and just work out of there and, just catch up there and make sure everything's running smoothly over there. And then I have a couple other guys that relieve other guys because my guys that went to Nevada are basically Michiganders. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
they like to come back sometimes and visit.
As far as like your sales and stuff, is most of the stuff kind of just calls for orders over the internet, or is it straight just orders through the phone? What do you see the spike coming from as far as your sales?
It's a big mixture. We get a lot of sales through the internet,
Yeah.
but we do get a large call volume. I would say roughly, on a busy day, about 300 calls. On a slower day, about maybe 150 calls. Not necessarily all orders, but customer service, questions, stuff like that. We are probably the number one online wrap supplier. So we do get a lot of traffic, and some people just call to ask a question. If we get the weirdest questions like, hey, "Can I wrap a coffin?" Yeah, of course. I mean,
That's
it's
awesome.
it's kind of fun. Some companies get annoyed from that stuff, but we look at it like it's cool. You want to wrap all these things because you don't only wrap cars.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Buildings, anything. What basically separates you from your competitors other than being online?
I would say definitely our customer service. My guys here, I basically train them as a shop owner.
Mm-hmm.
They already know what our customer expects from us, and their goal is to try to deliver that the best they can. It's not a perfect world. Nobody's perfect, but this method really works, and it really helps us be successful and developing relationships. I mean, again, being an online company, it's harder to develop a relationship, when you're not physically there at the customer shop and stuff. But
Right.
we're so knowledgeable and so trustworthy that we're able to develop these relationships, over the phone. And there's some real high end customers that we do go out and visit and fly out to and stuff like that. Our real loyal customers, and we just try to. We don't want to be a supplier. We want to be a partner to your company. We want to be an asset to your company, not just a place where you can go and get vinyl at a cheaper or higher price or whatever it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
definitely.
that's kind of our model.
Take me through your process of training. Like how much training do your employees go through in order to be knowledgeable in the product? Because I feel like sometimes, some people get hired, whether it be reps or even people at call centers, and they know enough in the book to get through, but they really don't know
Yeah.
what the right product may be for an install that someone may have a question to. Like, take me through the process of how deep in detail do you get with your employees?
Basically, when I hire someone, let's say in the sales customer service area, I make sure that person has experience in that field,
Mm-hmm.
so I don't have to train that part of the business because learning vinyl and wrap is a whole nother thing. So I'd like to find someone that has probably sold car parts, which that's a good trade because they have customers call and have user issues with it, and they know how to handle things. I like to actually get someone that has some kind of experience with Amazon and eBay because Amazon and eBay it's a big nightmare.
Right.
We sell on there. I don't like selling on there. I don't really even make money off Amazon and eBay, but I do it because I don't want to create a new competitor, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's happened in the past, like with Icon, like Adam Ship, you've talked to him before. He actually bought material from me before, and before he even started the company, he was my customer. And then, little by little, I was growing fast, and he went ahead and started selling on eBay, and that he was able to grow his business like through eBay and Amazon.
Right.
So really, I I'm on eBay and Amazon. I'm actually like, absorbing the hit for all suppliers with that, because I really hate it. It's a nightmare. I have just 2 employees dedicated to that, and it's the biggest nightmare. And everybody knows like Amazon's policy, and they try to scam you all the time. Just if they don't like a color, or they'll use the vinyl, and they don't like a color, they'll file for a chargeback, and they get it. You know
Right.
what I mean?
How come you don't get out of it?
We're slowly getting out of it, but we just do enough to maintain the market. Like I said, anybody can buy vinyl anywhere and sell it, but not anybody can be successful at it. This business it's a crazy business, because it's not like you're starting up. Hey, I want to sell cell phone accessories, right? So
Right.
you got aisle J, um, rack number 9. You go grab this accessory, scan it, put it in a package, and send it. No, every damn order is custom made. You know what I mean? Like, somebody orders 9 yards, you got to send them, you got to grab a roll, chop it down, repackage it, get it labeled. So every single order that we process is custom made, unless they're ordering a full roll. You know what I mean?
Right.
So not everybody can handle that. Not anybody can understand that. I mean, really the only converters out there that are successful are, us and fellers. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's very hard. I mean, it's not a business, and there's no program that's gonna, come right out the box and say, hey, okay, let's track yardage for inventory, let's track weights per yard. There's nothing like that. It's a completely custom business. It's probably one of the hardest businesses to start up, to be honest with you.
Well, take me through that, as far as like how you got into this crazy business. Take me back, when you really thought you wanted to start a business, and why you chose the rap industry or sign industry.
Basically, I don't know, my years might be wrong, but like 96, 97, I'm out of high school. I'm working at companies that, I was in the cell phone business. So
Hmm.
are you familiar with Nextel? Do you remember that phone where you used to chirp?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
you used to chirp people, back and forth. That was like the hottest thing back in that time. And I was a great salesman for that, and I was working for a company, and I was always the number one sales guy. Like, I would sell literally 120 contracts compared to like 10 contracts that the other 5 employees sold each. And then I just I was never appreciated. Like, I just felt like a worker. I can never get nowhere
Hmm.
with that certain company. So no problem. I left that company. I went to work for another company, and then within 3 months they gave me my own location at a mall to run a location at the mall. You know, was doing great there. The guy ended up selling the business, and the owner that bought the business, uh, he put his whole family to run all his locations. You know what I mean? So
Right.
now I was out of a job. So I went and opened my own cell phone place in Detroit, and I was inside of a liquor store. And it was actually a great opportunity, because it was a check cashing place.
Hmm.
So over there, these guys on a Friday would cash like $300,000 worth of checks.
Wow.
And my cell phone booth was right next to that area. So these guys are cashing checks, they're turning around, and then this is now Metro PCS was just launching back then, and then there was still even pagers. I used to
Right.
like repair beepers and shit, buy buy little speakers and resolder them on and stuff like that. So that business was doing great. That was about the time I got married. I got married real young. I was 21 years old when I got married. So that business was doing great, and the damn landlord, the owner of the store, kept getting greedy. Was charging me 1,500 rand, and it went to 2,000, 3,000, and I was being cocky, and I just I left the place. So now I'm home, and I'm looking on the internet, and I was always tech savvy, and I was always on the internet at a young age. I think I think I probably had an eBay account in like 1999, I believe. If I look back, I mean, it probably says 1999 on it. So I was always tech savvy. I'm on the internet, and throughout this whole process, I used to make music as well. I used to, produce hip hop beats and, make a little side money recording artists. I had a studio, this and that. So
Wow.
I'm the type of guy that I know how to use like almost any program you throw at me. I can, figure it out, whether it was Pro Tools for audio or, QuickBooks, any POS system, anything like that. I was very good at it. So I seen a plotter, on the internet, and I was like, what the hell is this thing, So I went, I researched it, and I stumbled on, I think it was Sign Warehouse.
Yeah.
So I had good credit back then, so I had like a $5,000 credit card, I believe. I went ahead and bought this kit. It came with a plotter. It came with a heat press. It came with a bunch of stuff. I don't remember everything. So I purchased it and I got it in, and I started making business cards. I said, I'm going to start a little decal business, out of my basement. Now I'm home, in my basement at this time. I'm married. My wife's pregnant. We don't have that much money, so I'm trying to figure out ways to make money without working for someone.
Yeah.
So I started my little decal business, in my basement, and I'm going out, giving out business cards. I'm picking up jobs here and there, for putting business hours on doors, real petty jobs, but it's high profit. I was trying to make $100 a day, I was, so I can make it.
Yeah.
Anyway, long story short, I think it was maybe in 2002, some customer wanted his windows like smoked out. So I bought some Oracal 8300 transparent film, right?
Yeah.
So I bought that film. And I put it on his windows, had a big 48-inch roll back then. And he only needed to do like 5 windows. So I bought that roll. Then this customer wants, pink. This guy wants red. This guy wants blue. So now I found myself that I have all this inventory and I'm not making money. I'm making money on the job, but all my money's tied up in this inventory.
Right.
So what I did was, I think it was like 2003, 2004, I had listed this stuff on eBay. I said, I have to find a way to make my money, to get my profits out of this product. I have all these rolls, like $1,800 worth of vinyl sitting around, but that was all my profit. Making decals cost you $2, you charge $30. It's a very high profit business,
Right.
but it gets expensive when everybody wants all these different colors.
But then you have overstock, and then what do you do with that?
Exactly. So I had to figure out a way to pay my bills by selling this overstock. So I figured I'd go on eBay. And man, it was so petty that I was cutting little 12 by 12 sheets, like of vinyl, and listing them on there and stuff. So it started off real slow. I still, I was doing my thing, still making decals, making T-shirts, doing the music stuff. And, I started to sell 5 orders, 10 orders, 20 orders. And then this one guy bought the transparent Oracal film, right? And he sent me a picture, and I kind of owe that guy everything, because I ain't gonna lie, I didn't come out with the idea of, smoking out your taillights. However,
Yeah.
I was guaranteed, you can look back on YouTube and stuff, I was one of the first sellers to sell that Oracal film as, an actual headlight taillight tint. You know what I mean?
Right.
So the customer actually gave me that idea. He sent me a picture from eBay, and he's like, "Hey man, thanks for the great product. Look what I did to my lights." And I was like, "Oh my God, man, this is sweet. I never even thought of this." So what did I do? I listed this stuff on eBay as headlight film, taillight film. I cut out 24-inch, 12-inch, whatever you want. I listed them. Now, keep in mind, this is back then where there was no such thing as free shipping. So I was charging like $4.99 for shipping, and back then you would ship with USPS for like $1.99.
Yeah.
And I was selling a piece of vinyl for $7.99 that cost like 80 cents. You know what I mean? So
Good profit.
that huge profit. I mean, I made money off shipping. Even if I sold the product for free, I was making money off shipping. But I'm only selling, 5 or 6 a week. It wasn't a big deal. So it came a point where I just, I said I got to do something to push this stuff. So I created a video on how to install it. I don't remember every single little detail that I've done, but I created a website. It was Metro Decals back then, and now I think we're talking like '04 now.
Right.
I made YouTube videos and this and that. I think MySpace was out back then. I went on MySpace, I went and tagged people, and I figured out a way how to market myself, through social media even back then. Like there wasn't Facebook, I believe, was out. I remember having a Facebook account, but it was it wasn't like it was today,
Right.
like I
It's
think
kind of
only
new.
I think college people used it, and MySpace was the big thing, so you just go on there, you put pictures and stuff and tag people.
Yeah.
So that was actually working. So, I started to sell like, 10 a day, 15 a day. And you're talking these big profits. Then in 2005, Oracle, I think it was 2005, I'm not sure about these dates, I might be wrong. Oracle came out with gloss, matte, black, and gloss, matte, white materials.
Yeah.
So I said, you know what? I'm gonna grab me a 10-yard roll, not even a 25-yard. Let me grab me a 10-yard roll and see what I could do with this stuff. I bought it. I'm selling sheets. Some guy contacted me. Hey, can I get a 5-foot sheet? Because you only got like 1-foot sheets. So, still I'm thinking small. I'm selling little pieces. Again, most of my ideas really came from customers. Like they gave me the idea, but I took that idea and I implemented it into
Right.
a business. You know what I mean? So this guy wants to wrap his roof.
Mm.
I had no idea. Okay, you want to wrap your roof? Here you go. He sent me pictures, everything. There you go. Me, I didn't just sit around. All right, I went on my website, new, Metro decals. It was all so exciting back then. You make the ad and everything. You can't wait to like publish it and stuff like that. We have new roof wrap is out now. You can make your roof look black. I don't even think panoramic roofs were even available back then, so I didn't know what that was. You couldn't advertise a panoramic roof. So that stuff started selling, and then I got to a point where I was selling more product on the internet than I was actually doing locally. So I weighed the options. I'm like, all right, so I'm making $5 off this item and I'm selling 10 a day, but I am making 100 off this item, but I'm wasting my whole day, producing it, making it, and I got to go install the thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I just said, you know what? I'm done with that. I'm just gonna focus on selling material, and that's kind of how I became a supplier of wrap. I started that way, and then I just kept buying colors and stuff like that. So mostly supplying the craft world back then. So in '05, the only wrap I had was Oracle.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was. I think in 2008 is when 1080. Oh well, before that, I discovered Dynoc. And again, you can go back on YouTube and you'll find a video. For sure, I was the only guy selling the first wrappable carbon fiber material, which was not even really wrappable because it's architectural film.
Right.
But back then, the only other product I had was, I don't know if you remember it. Do you remember the Avery black carbon fiber, the checkered pattern? And it only
It
came like 30 inches wide max.
it was
You
like
remember that?
a cheaper version of the new carbon. It was
Not even a cheaper version. I mean, it would look horrible. I mean, it was just like a square checkerboard
yeah.
with a screen printed pattern. They discontinued it, I think, probably like 4 years ago. So I was selling a lot of that stuff, and this is still, in my basement, and I'm taking packages to USPS, driving there, and all that crap. I'm buying tubes from USPS in boxes. I'm not smart yet. I'm so caught up in the mix of selling a product, that I'm not even able to step away from that and think about how can I like now, really save on expenses. You know what I mean? So I'm paying top dollar for everything.
Right.
And that was probably a mistake. I should have focused more on that. But again, I'm kind of like thrown into this business that's just being created. You know what I mean? So
Well, you were
I had
hungry.
to,
Well, you were hungry back then. You're looking
yeah.
to make your $100 a day, and you didn't care what it took as long as you made the 100. You know what I mean?
Right, I'm about to have a baby. I want my
Yeah.
little son to have Jordans too.
Yep.
So
Yep.
that's how I was looking at it. Like, I was very excited about having a kid, and then we were fortunate enough to buy a home, so we had a home, and I didn't want to lose my home,
Yeah.
so I just did everything I can to hustle and make money, not thinking about how much money I'm actually wasting that I could have been saving, but
Survival mode. I mean, at the end of the day, I
yeah,
think we all go through that a little bit, even if we're putting the vinyl on. It's like how quick can we put this stuff on, and it may not be the most effective way to put it on, but we get it on, we make our money, and then walk away.
right, yeah. So yeah, the Dynoc thing really took off for me. So now I'm buying this product. I think I'm paying $12 average, maybe more, $15 a foot, and I'm selling it for like $30 a foot. So back then, you're talking killer profits, like,
Yeah.
because nobody even knows. There's not even there wasn't really even a clientele for this. You know what I mean? So it wasn't like flying off the shelves, but that one person that kind of looked for a carbon fiber alternative was guaranteed to run into my listings and my website. You know what I mean? So that's what kind of grew that Metro Decals website fast. That thing grew quick. I mean, I think within 3 months, like, it was organically pulling results for anything that's had the word rap in it, which is impossible to pull off these days.
Right. Where were you getting your vinyl prior? Were you going to straight to the distributors, or were you using
Oh
another
no, no,
local guy?
no, no. They looked at me like a joke. Yeah, I mean, some of it, like, who's this guy? I did contact every single one of them. Believe me, I did. But I'm like, yeah, I want to buy 2 rolls. And they're like, all right, well, here you go. Here's a sign warehouse. Here's a Fellers. Here's some other, couple companies.
Local
Yeah.
guys selling it. Yeah.
So I'm like, all right. So what I did was I had to go through these guys, to start off, because who's going to look at me? I don't even have a commercial address, like, I'm
Right.
getting stuff shipped to my home. So it was tough, but I started playing smart. I had companies fighting over, pricing, how that goes.
Mm-hmm.
And, I would buy it from this guy. All right. Do business with him for about a month. And then the other company would call me and say, hey, what happened? We were selling you this stuff. We ordered it just for you, like Dynac. They didn't even stock it. Oh, well, I'm buying it from here. It's cheaper. So, all right, what do we got to do? So they beat the price, go back to them for a couple months, and they go back to these guys. So it was, I was always getting my prices reduced, throughout the whole progress of, growing out of the basement type deal.
Right. So when did you end up moving into your facility you're in now?
In 2009, now we're doing real good in the basement. I think the business is probably ringing up like 50, 60, 70,000 a year, which is nothing. But back then, I mean, that's great. You're talking 80% profit.
Absolutely.
I'm able to make 35,000 back in '08 on my own. And I still did music and had little side hustles, and then I even learned how to rap a little bit, and I was doing, little odd end jobs by rapping, but I completely stopped doing signage or decals. I wasn't doing anything like that.
So you actually doing decals and rapping. Who taught you how to do that? You kind of just taught yourself?
I just taught myself. I grabbed material and I just started testing it and playing with it. Pretty much the first 30 installs like all failed, but I was doing it on friends' cars and trying it out
Right.
and stuff like that. But I changed the subject. I'm sorry. So back to moving to a location. So me and my buddy's also a very tech savvy, smart guy, and he was selling HIDs, which are the high intensity discharge lights.
Yep.
And back then, and to fast forward, I was importing vinyl, 3D foiled back vinyl from China. Do you remember that film? It was like the 3D pattern,
Yep.
but it wasn't textured. It was like glossy, but it was not wrappable. It was literally looked like aluminum foil. It wasn't flexible, but this was the most realistic film. So I was importing from China. I remember if it was Skype. It might have been Skype back then. I'm not sure. But I was talking to them, and I was scared as hell to send like $2,000 offshore. Am I going to ever see that money, or am I going to get product? But
Yeah.
basically, long story short, I learned how to import. So my buddy was looking into getting a business. He doesn't like working for anyone, so he wanted to do his own thing, and he really liked the HID business. And we started researching that. Then he found someone I supply him,
Mm-hmm.
like $30 for a kit, which is very expensive back then. $30 for a kit, and on eBay they're selling for $99. And keep in mind, we're going so far back. The Chinese were not even selling on eBay. Like it was literally all U.S. stuff, U.S. products, U.S. or U.S. Sellers selling Chinese products. The
Wow.
Chinese were not selling on there. So this guy is buying kits now for $30, selling them for 100, making a killing. So he's doing about 60 grand. I'm doing about 60 grand a year. We decided to get a building together. So
Nice.
in that whole discussion, all right, let's get this building. I'm like, look, I got this name, bro. It's Metro Restyling. Back then, everything was about tuning, 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 tuning.
Yeah.
The word restyling, you never really heard it. I don't even remember how I, stumbled upon the word, but I was like, and we're in Metro Detroit, so I love the word Metro. It's just like a cool universal name.
Right.
And, it's like, it's kind of like a Detroit thing. There's a Metro Pizza, Metro Cabs, Metro Cars, there's Metro everything. So that name was stuck in my head, the word Metro. And the restyling, I was like, this is the new thing. This is like tuning your car, but in a design. It's not like, mufflers and exhaust. It's about like changing the color of the muffler or changing the color.
Aesthetics.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, I think this kind of business is going to really take off, the restyling world. So let's just merge our two companies. And again, this is my best friend. Like, so trust wise and all that, like we didn't even have to worry about.
Mm-hmm.
So we decided to merge. So in 2009, we both merged, and I actually got the corporation Metro Restyling Inc., Metro Giant Inc., and DBA Metro Restyling. So we're doing business as Metro Restyling now. We brought in HIDs, and we brought in vinyl wrap and craft material all into one place, and we created MetroRestyling.com. So that's kind of how that all started off. So long story short, we're working, we're doing good, we're selling a shit ton of vinyl and a shit ton of lighting. We decided to buy a printer, so
Wow.
we bought a printer. I hired a designer. I'm like, look, I need carbon fiber, but I need it to be flexible, and you need to make this design, and I just want to print this stuff. So that was in 2009. I was printing black carbon fiber vinyl, like flexible stuff. It was printed, didn't look as good as that 3D stuff I was selling,
Right.
but people wanted something that's flexible, that's more durable, quality film.
And
So
what were you printing that on at the time? Do you remember?
back then, man, I really don't. I know it was a 3M product, and we were also using an Oracle product
Right.
back then. And I don't remember. I don't think it was IJ180. That technology wasn't out back then,
Right.
and I really don't remember, to be honest with you. But whatever was on the market in 2009 that was considered premium, and I remember it was. I think it was Oracle, because I don't think there was Air Channel
No,
release.
there wasn't air release back
Yeah,
then, I don't think.
I don't remember that. I think Oracle was like the only one with like that gray adhesive. That's the
Right.
memory I'm getting right now. So I couldn't tell you exactly what film we were using, but I know whatever we were using was the best that's on the market at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So we were printing that, and that stuff started cranking. Then now, okay, let's make blue, let's make red, let's make this, that. So we're both doing good. Our business is probably doubling, tripling,
Wow.
in that time frame. But the thing is, you got these two guys, and I've never really had money. Like my parents always did whatever they can for me, but our family, like, we never had money. So like now we're getting, I'm making money. My friend's the same boat. He never really had money. He's making money. We started to like, I don't know how to explain it, but like take advantage of the situation. You might want to say, like, I would only work like Monday and Wednesday, and then I'm sorry, I would have Monday, Wednesday off. He would have like Tuesday, Thursday off, and then I just didn't see the company growing. And then like the HID stuff was very easy. All you got to do is make a call, get a
Right.
container, it comes in, you listen, you just put the product on the shelf and ship it and sell it. You know,
And
the
this was
vinyl
only
world was,
and this was only both of you guys at the time. You guys didn't have employees or nothing at the time then.
well, I skipped one part. So my brother Brandon, he just got out of high school, and then he didn't have, you know, I'm like, you got any plans, college, anything, you know, what are you gonna do? He was working at Buffalo Wild Wings. I'm like, listen, I'm gonna get somewhere with this business. Why don't you join me now and let's blow up together, you know? And he trusted me, and he's like, yeah. And till this day, you know, he's with me. I've kept my promise. He's kept his. You know, we're both, you know, doing well.
That's
So
great.
I kind of jumped over that. So yeah, I had Brandon, and then we had another friend that a family friend that I've known. He was shipping. So Brandon was the actual shipper. So this is Brandon shipping, and the other guy is helping him ship. Again, my side of the business was the difficult one. These guys are customizing film, cutting it down. You know, I'm over here running a printer. You know, and my buddy's on the phone. You know, just, you know, taking phone calls. So I realized that my friend Randy, he's not interested in rap. You know, he hated it. He
Wow.
didn't like it. Like, you know, he didn't like selling it or anything. He just liked the money.
Hmm.
So we both came to a mutual agreement. Like we had a talk. I'm like, Randy, look, I got 2 days off. You got 2 days off. Who the hell are we? You know, we're taking 2 days off. You know, I feel like we're just, you know, spoiling ourselves, and we don't have the right mindset. Why don't we do this? We got the business to a certain level. Why don't we split back up? You take your HID business and just focus on that and do your thing and blow that up. And I'll take my vinyl business back and I'll focus on that and blow that up. We both came to that mutual agreement. We took inventory. You know, I had owed him money because the HIDs, you know, cost a lot more than vinyl.
Right.
You know, he helped me out. He's like, you know, I know you don't have that money right now. Give me, you know, give me 10,000 for now. You owe me this, no problem, whatever. So we unmerged. The day we unmerged, this guy went crazy. He started selling so much lighting. He became the number one person on eBay. And I swear to you, until his domination ended when China started selling on eBay.
I can
Me,
imagine.
same thing. Now me, I'm still doing my thing. I'm selling vinyl. Now I got people calling me from Kuwait, Dubai. You know, hey, I want this carbon fiber. I'm gonna send
Huh.
you 20,000. I'm like, what? Hell yeah, 20,000. You got it. I'll make whatever you want for 20 grand. You know.
Right.
So I'm over here. You know, I'm shocked. Like now I'm focused. I'm spending money on advertising. I'm getting into social media. Like I'm really focused. I'm calling UPS and FedEx. Like, listen, guys. You know, I need better rates. And you know, I started to become like a real boss, like a real business owner. You
Right.
know, instead of, you know, like this whole business kind of was a fluke, but I took advantage of it and realized that, hey, you know, who the hell are you? You're taking 2 days off, you know, of work, and you barely, you know, this is not really a business yet. So
Right.
that mindset kicked in. It was game over. I took all of my technology skills and utilized them. And, you know, I always thought the internet's the way. I didn't even care where I was at. My location was like behind a building that was behind another subdivision. Like I didn't even care about that because, you know, I just wanted cheap rent and I wanted a place to hold all this stuff and ship it. That's it. I only focused on the internet because I wasn't worried about 30 people or 100 people coming into this one location. I want to service a million people. You know, that was my mindset. So when we split up, everything started going well. Then 3M came out. Now 3M's out. That it was game over. 1080 got released. 1080, I think there was like 17 colors.
Right. They didn't have that many in the
Fellers,
beginning.
yeah, Fellers, Grimco, Sign Warehouse, all these companies, they're all sleeping. Nobody even stocked it. Like every time I ordered was a special order, you know,
Wow.
for that product. I don't know. I just believed in this product so much, and I always loved 3M. You know, like the brand. It's just like it's a household name. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I did so well with the 3M Dynac. I'm like, this is it. That's it. You know, Oracle, you know, it's a great company. Don't get me wrong, but it's not a household name. You know, like nobody understands what is Oracle. You know, but 3M, your grandmother probably used some kind of glue or tape from 3M. You know, before, so she knows the name. So even till today, 3M is just it's a known household name. Everybody knows what 3M is.
Is
You know,
that
so
still your number one seller on your website?
yeah, Yeah. 3M is number one. Like, believe it or not, the best selling SKU is G12 gloss black.
Nice.
It's like the number one SKU. I mean, thousands of rolls get sold of, the G12. But Avery now gloss black is the second highest selling SKU. So gloss blacks are very popular, and then they're followed by matte and satin.
So go back to your warehouse. So when did you actually
Yeah. So back to the warehouse thing. Um, so the business is growing. I'm very focused. I'm just grinding every day, working like 12, 13, 15-hour days, unbelievable stuff. Like, wife's all mad at me, you're not seeing your son, but I don't know what happened to me. I just became this person that was like invested into this business. Like, it took me over.
mhm.
And I'm not gonna sit here and say, yeah, it was because I love rap. I guess I love finally to be successful, and I do love rap, like, because you got to do what you like. You got to do something you love. I love selling, rap film. I love hearing the stories. I love seeing, pictures of people using it. It just it makes me very happy. So that's definitely a bonus. I'm not selling, like, women's lingerie, making, money off that, and it's something I hate. Well, I don't, that's a bad example. I don't know who hates lingerie, right? But
Oh, that's
but
awesome. No, it's a good
tires, you
analogy.
could say, yeah, you could say tires. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I guess.
I love rap. I love the industry, so it's just something I've grown into. But back to the building. I'm sorry, I'm all over the place.
No
But yeah,
worries.
back to the building thing. So we're getting bigger. Now 1080's out, and we're going crazy. Everything's selling. The website's ranking up. Just selling a lot of film. I got customers now coming into our location. Finding us. On Google and stuff, like all kind of stuff. So every little aspect of that, like, where'd you find us? Like, I was always nosy. Hey, I'll give you, I'll give you this free squeegee. Just let me know how you found us. If you have a moment of your time. Oh, well, I found you, from Facebook, or I found you from Google, and all right. So I would write it down, and then sometime I would go to that and just focus on how can I grow this area here. Okay, like, how can I figure out Google and then get more people into my shop, and that's something that I would write down, and then when I get to it, I get to it. But I've always got it done, and I always found success. Whatever little task that I wrote down, when I tackled it, I seen some kind of improvement, from it.
Right.
But yeah. So the building wise, I ended up renting out the building next to me because I was running out of space. I had a 1,500 square foot building when I first started. Then I took another 1,500 square foot building, and I put the landlord allowed me to cut a hole through the wall, like a walkway, so we can access both warehouses. So I think 2011, I outgrew that, and I got a 6,000 square foot building from the same landlord, but in a different complex.
Wow.
So I ended up getting that probably in like 2011, I want to say 2012, and ended up outgrowing that. And keep in mind, throughout this whole time, I'm not blowing any money. Every single dollar I made, I put it back into this company. I always loved the Benz. So I think it was 2010. I bought a Benz, but it was only $25,000 Benz. It was a CL 500, and I love that car, but I couldn't see myself. I could afford a brand new Benz, but I couldn't throw the money away on a car. I just said, I'm looking at all this inventory, like, man, this is,
Way
50
more,
grand. If I
make way
take
more
50
money off
grand
of
and
that.
throw it away, this is bringing 20%. I'm looking at stuff, and then dollar signs are showing me percentages, like,
Yeah.
I see 30% here, 40%. I'm not getting a car, but I got something just to kind of reward myself in a cheap way, I guess, so,
Well, it filled
yes.
that void. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
You didn't have to spend all the money to get it, but getting a used one was just as good. Or what?
Right, definitely. So now, we got our 6,000 square foot building that we outgrew that. My credit was, building better and better and better. I'm paying the vendors off, charging stuff on the card, paying it off. My credit was very good. I went and I said, you know what? I was scared shitless, but I said, I want to buy a building because I was paying this landlord 4,000 a month. And in 2012, the market was still down from the '09 crash. And that's another thing why, I'm very fortunate. In 2009, I had so many friends and family struggling. Like they were struggling bad. And then that's when I was starting to come up. Like we kind of like switched roles. Like these guys are the ones that had the Benzes and Beamers, and like they got laid off, and
Mm-hmm.
these guys invested in a bunch of houses and they lost them all. Like it was crazy. And even my friend Randy, he was one of those one of those guys. He got caught up in an investment with a home, and he had to foreclose it. And that's why I put the corporation in my name, because he couldn't even put in his name. He was going through like bankruptcy and stuff.
Wow.
So I was very fortunate, to make it through like '08, '09, 2010, of that struggle that a lot of people had, with that bad recession that we had.
Right. Do you think, not to break up the conversation, but do you think based on that recession, basically people in the sign industry or whatnot made a little bit more money because now people that didn't market or self market, they were going to sign shops to get marketing done on their cars? That's what I felt like as a business owner
Yeah.
on my time, because I was doing the signs, I was doing the vehicle lettering. I never saw a drop in sales. If anything, I saw a little bit more of a spike because people were looking at vehicle lettering and wraps as another source of income for free advertising. You know what I mean? Is it something similar?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think the sign business took a struggle, but again, I wasn't the guy that catered to the sign business, so I wouldn't, I can't probably answer that the right way. But I do know one thing that I experienced during that recession is kind of something I left out. Like remember, I still have my plotter and printer. I had a lot of companies finding us and coming to us to promote their business. They were buying signage and banners and stuff, because I still hired somebody to do that stuff. I figured,
Yeah.
hey, this will pay my rent.
Mm-hmm.
So during that time period, I did see a lot of that business because people were trying to promote their business because they were being affected by, the downfall. Like,
Yeah.
people are buying banners, running sales, running ads. So yeah, I could see the sign industry maybe picking up from that. But again, I wasn't the guy supplying the sign industry.
But going back to the business, so you grew out of your 6,000 square foot and wanted to buy one.
I'm looking for a building 2012. Interest rates are very low. Building prices were, starting to come back around. So, I talked to my dad. My dad is one of them guys, like, he's like a nervous guy. He's like, nah, I don't know, don't do it. What if you can't afford the payment? I said, listen, everything I've always put myself into, I always put myself into a jam, but then I always figure it out and get out of it. So there's no way that I can't afford this building. If I was paying this guy 4,000 a month and I have to pay 4,000 a month here and some taxes, I'm gonna pull it off. So I found a building, the one we're in now, the 13,000 square foot building. That was in 2013, I believe, or
Wow.
it might have been 13 or 14. I found the building and I purchased it, scared shitless. Now this is the crazy thing here, and I still have two employees here that were with me since then, besides Brandon, like in my warehouse.
Yeah.
I bought a building. Okay. I had the building for about a month. We had to remodel some stuff, do the floors, paint, all kind of crap. Pretty much fast forward to the building's ready to go, ready to be moved into. We had to shut down Metro Restyling. We did orders on a Friday. We finished all of our orders on a Friday, shut the business down, packaged everything. My brother Eldon got like 20 of his friends, and I'm paying laborers like $10 an hour just to move stuff. We moved about 6,000. The 6,000 square foot building was full, jam packed, like everywhere. There's packaging, there's vinyl, there's all kind of stuff everywhere. We moved that and started the business back up. And we Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we were able to launch back up Monday. I don't even know
Wow.
how we pulled it off. It was unbelievable. I rented a high-low. I owned a high-low at the old building, so we would load a rider truck 20 feet. The fortunate thing was the building I purchased was only a mile and a half away from the building I was at.
Oh,
So I
perfect.
rented a high-low. Put it here. Oh, at the old building, we didn't have pallet racks. I was still like, caught up in developing a racking system, a way to like, put the
Store it.
vinyl up. Yeah, like, I had these 4 inch, or I think it was 3 inch 2x4s built into this like board, and they would stick out of the ground, and we would put the vinyl on there, and it would sit upright. So like when you look around the shop, there's like 200 rolls all sitting vertically. You know what I mean?
Wow.
I said, you know what? I want to palletize this stuff. So I ordered pallet racks. Those were already all set for us. I had set those up already, but we basically moved the whole 6,000 square foot shop, printers, all kind of stuff, and set up our business. And we printed all of our orders and got them done on the following Monday. It was unbelievable. It
Wow.
was the craziest thing that I ever went through. The first move wasn't that bad because moving the 1,500 square feet of vinyl and supplies wasn't a big deal. The other 1,500, I had pallets of tubes and pallets of vinyl, so it wasn't that difficult. But this move was crazy. I couldn't believe we pulled it off. But again, being an online business, because that's what we really we were back then, is a straight up online business. Not
Right.
until like 14, 15 is when people are now not liking their current suppliers, and actual shops are now doing business with us. Like now I could say it's a big swing. It's like 60% shop owners compared to like 40% web customers. That's our ratio right now.
Wow.
So the business naturally just evolved. Like more people want to do business with, like, once they had the experience, they liked it, and they continue to do business with us. And I'm not here saying we're the best supplier, but we definitely go out of our way.
Yeah, it's
We
all about
we
customer
definitely go.
service too. You
Yeah,
know.
it's very important. It's very important, and that's what we pride ourselves in. So yeah, so that's what put me into this building now. Is that's the whole venture. There's a bunch of stuff I probably left out. I don't want to
In
be on here all
between.
day.
No, no,
Yeah,
no. It's all
talking.
good. I love hearing stories like that, though.
But I'm being honest. I'm not one of them guys that says, "Yeah, well, I perfectly planned this out." And I really, I fluked. It was a fluke. I was going broke. I needed to get rid of some vinyl, and it ended up selling and doing better than than what I was really doing. So, but the smart thing, the only thing I give myself credit for is that, I took advantage of that and created a business out of it.
And you had no business experience other than working for a cell phone company, being a good sales guy, knew your ropes, what you need to do to get from point A to point B, and you kind of just hustled your way through it and made it work. Basically, is what it sounds
Yeah,
to me.
the only business experience I had was that, that cell phone booth I opened up inside that liquor store. It
Yeah.
was about a year, but still I had to, I had accounts payable, I had to pay people,
Right.
so it taught me a lot. I had to make sure I had inventory, all, you remember prepaid cards,
Yep.
I had that was, where you made your money on prepaid cards. You made like 10 cents, 10% on a card. So, that taught me a lot, to be actually responsible and pay bills and pay your vendors. That was very important, because if I didn't pay my card company, for the prepaid cards, that 80% of
Shut
the
you down.
business, yeah, they would come in for a card and then ended up buy a case for their phone or a charger. That's how it was. That's what got them in the door. So that's probably my only experience that I brought to Metro,
That's
was that
incredible.
I'm just self-taught. I mean, I really didn't have anybody to look up to or anything like that. Is just yeah, I don't know. The web has a lot to do with it, because I was just obsessed with the internet. Yeah, I mean, I was one of those guys that I didn't look at the internet as a business though. Like
Yeah.
back then, like AOL, I used it for the chat room and stuff. I was the guy that took advantage of the tools that were on the internet though. So when I wanted to buy something or research something, that's why I had an eBay account in 1999. I
Right.
think I wanted to buy some studio music equipment, and I would just go on. I would find eBay because it was cheaper. you
Right.
know so
Right.
I was smart enough to utilize the internet, and it's a big database. Why not utilize it if you can? You want to find something, find it. I mean, today it's different. Everything's polluted. I think there's a lot of pollution now on the internet, but back then it wasn't like that.
What do you think now, as far as where you're at with Metro, and you look back? What would you have done different to kind of, put you up further than you are now? Or what in general would you have changed? to get you to the where you're at now?
What would I have changed?
Yeah.
Um, I don't
Would
know.
you add,
Probably
state partners with your buddy, or would you have like not state partners? Do you think you would have been farther along if you didn't get into the LED business as well with your buddy? Because I mean, at the end of the day, 2 days on, 2 days off, nobody was 100% committed. Do you think that might have hurt you as far as getting further ahead?
100%. One of us would have had to, turn on the button and be like, "Hey, this is not going to work. I mean, we're going to be happy for this moment, but there's no future here."
Right.
And again, the reason why we merged was, we were both afraid of paying a rent. He was out of his basement, I worked out of my basement, and now we're faced with this $3,000 rent plus bills, utilities, this and that. You got to leave a security deposit. It was kind of, I don't know, it felt like a threat to us. You know what I mean?
Mm,
So that's the main reason we merged. But I mean, as far as me doing something different, I don't think there's anything I would have done different. I mean, now I'm not saying I did everything correctly, but the pace that I'm going, I mean, I'm not trying to be the leader in of the world of rap. I'm not, I want to be that smaller company, I, I opened this Vegas location, to service people, but this Vegas location brought a lot to me. It's hard. It's very hard to manage that location and this location. And I do know if I open another location in Florida and one in New York and one in Texas, that the business is definitely going to grow. People like us. I mean, just the location in Vegas that we opened, I mean, I think we took 80% of all color change business that was going to all these other distributors. And I'm very confident in saying that. And these guys will go look at their numbers and be like, yeah, he's right. But it's just because of the service we offer. Like my manager there, Wadi, this guy is unbelievable. I mean, he treats you like family. You walk in there, you get offered a Gatorade. Again, you can't offer this, you can't do this stuff if you're so big. You know what
right.
I'm saying, Jeff? People contact me on Facebook. You can't contact these big guys on Facebook and stuff. They're just too big. It's not that they don't want you to contact them. It's just they have people handling this stuff for them.
Right.
So at the end of the day, that does stop my growth, but it's okay because I'm not looking for that. I'm not trying to, rule the world by selling vinyl. I'm happy with the steps we're taking. I'm happy with the slow progress. I'm afraid of fast growth because fast growth can ruin a company.
Right.
You know, I can go open two more locations and things go wrong, and then I just have the worst customer service now, and orders are getting messed up, and then the name, my brand means everything. So I just wanted to build a brand, and it'll slowly grow. It'll slowly grow on its own, but I don't want to I don't want it. I don't want it that bad. You know what I mean? Because there's more that comes to it. I mean, we have goals like we want to grow 30% a year.
Wow.
That's manageable by me. That's what I know. If I grow 30% a year, I'm not going to ever hurt this business. I'm not going to hurt my customers.
How do you manage that percentage though? Like what do you do differently as far as like having your two locations, having great customer service, keeping your overhead to a minimum and keeping your employees happy and whatnot. What gives you the 30%? How do you manage that? Like how do you get that number?
I think our rap industry is growing on an average of 18% naturally. If you don't do nothing and you just sit back at your desk, kick your feet up
Hmm.
and sell vinyl, I think you're growing 15, 18%, a year because our industry is growing. And
Right.
and when I say industry, we cater to the color change industry.
Right.
We're not really that place to go to for digital media and stuff like that. I'm talking about aftermarket restyling, the color change products. That part of the industry, I feel it's growing about 18%.
Hmm.
So 30% is a lot of other things that we need to do, whether it's reaching out to customers, all the follow-ups we do, a lot of other secrets, that I have that I, don't want to like dish out, but there's ways to achieve that. And 30 is the goal. We've been doing well. I believe I had one year at a 27% growth, but every year has been, more than like 33, and I'm talking the last 5 years.
Wow.
Before that, we're talking about 100 to 200% growth. Like, you know, when I'm talking about 2008 to 2009,
Right.
9 to 10, 10 to 11, we were like 200, 300%. But, you know, when all these other distributors caught on, I would say in 2011, 2012, they caught on to color change. You know, that's where it became more difficult. Like, that's when I seen my margins go. You know, if things stayed that way, I would have probably been a millionaire right now. You know, but you know, these guys are all selling color change now. They've caught on to it, and now the margins are going down and the expenses are going up. So now
Right.
it's fair to say about 30% growth is what I'm satisfied with. Now, can I get 50, 60, 70? I can, but that would be only for my gain, and I will affect my customers if I went that way, because it's very difficult. This business is not just, like I said, you can't just open up a location and throw somebody in there and that's it. You know,
Right.
it doesn't work like that. This business is very custom. There's no software for it. You know, I don't know how much Frank bought his software. He probably got $100,000 software, you know, to manage that business. It's unbelievable. And that's why you don't see too many suppliers that can actually convert, because it's such a custom business.
It
Imagine
is.
every single order, you know, every single order you ship out is like handmade, you know, like it's hand cut,
Yeah.
you know, it's rolled out, you know, and you can't damage it. It's crazy,
There's a
you
lot
know.
of
It's
mechanics. There's a lot of moving parts from when you receive the order, whether it be via phone, via internet, to where the next person gets it, the next person cuts it, then you got shipping, and then you get the pickup for shipping. There's so much that can go wrong in between, and I totally
minus
understand.
in inventory, adding
Yeah.
to inventory, you know,
Yeah.
checking POs, all kind of stuff.
It's insane.
If we're selling rolls, you know, it's a different thing, because that's when you just grab something and slap a label on it,
See you
and you
later.
move it out.
Right.
But when you're converting, I mean, it's
It's a whole different
you
game.
know, yeah, I earn every single penny that I get. That's all I can tell you, man, because it's not easy money.
Yeah, it comes down.
Yeah,
You base it off of square footage. You know, I had the time to go through your website. Everything's down to the square footage that you can purchase, which is great because a lot of guys don't really do that sometimes. A lot of
yeah,
these small shops are like, hey, you can only get a half a roll or a full roll. You can't get just 1 yard. You can't just get 2 yards. And
yeah.
sometimes it's
Well,
it's good and bad, but
yeah, well, that was my niche. You know, I was one of the first people to sell by the foot. You know, and I was the first person that actually had a sample person cutting, chopping up samples all day, like three inch samples, and then
yeah,
6 inch samples and 12 by 12s. You know, like we were one of the first ones that implemented that. You know, but again, that was because we're smaller and we're able to do that. You know, you can't. These big companies, it's too hard for them to do that. You know, they're
right.
they're focused on different numbers, and their expenses are a lot more. You know what I mean? They're probably flying people around, you know, just their fly. I don't even want to see their budget for flying people around, you
Yeah.
know, like training and this and that.
Now
So
you don't have sales guys going out and like kind of cold calling or just walking into the different shops and kind of
our sales team is basically, you know, it's all done over the phone. It's all
really.
done over the phone. Yep. But I physically go to some shops that, you know, if I'm in a certain state, I'll have my list, you know, I'll pull up some customers that do business with us, and then I pop in there, you know, and say
That's
hello.
great.
You know, every time I go to a state, you know, that's what I do. I try to find like 3, 4 shops that I can visit and just walk in there, throw them a t-shirt, say thank you, and, you know, see how they operate, you know, and people like that, you know.
People appreciate that a lot,
But
especially a
again,
business owner coming in, not a sales guy. The guy who writes the checks walks into your
right.
shop, gives you a shirt, asks how the business is, and appreciates you doing business with them. That in itself, 100% goes a long way.
And again, that's because we're smaller. We can do that. You know,
Right.
if you know, I can't imagine being a Grimco and Fellers and doing that. You can't. It's not possible.
Right.
You know, it's impossible. So, and that's why I don't want to overgrow the company, because my only fear of overgrowing a company is not failing, is just failing my customer.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll ever fail myself. I always know how to manage, but I don't want to fail my customers. The most heartbreaking thing I can't stand is if when we mess up a customer's order. Like, man, it kills me till this day, especially like if it's one of our real good customers, and like because again, my guys know how important it is that you as a shop owner, you need your film when it's promised. You know what I
Right.
mean? If you ordered it today and we said you're getting it tomorrow, you better get it tomorrow. That rarely happens where we have an issue like that. But if my guy ships the wrong product, that's the killer.
Yeah.
I don't care about losing shipping it back, whatever. I let that customer down. My company, my brand, let that customer down. There's nothing you can do about it. It'll always happen because I can't sit here and babysit every single employee and make sure they're double, triple checking. You know what I mean?
Right.
But it's just heartbreaking. It really bothers me. That's like the worst thing.
What happens the most that you see a lot of as far as like being in your industry, being the business owner of a company that's distributing vinyl wrap material to a client or to someone who's reselling it? What do you see the most of as far as a return or concern or anything like that? I'm always eager to know what like people like, oh, you sent me the wrong order. That's basically the biggest things we usually happen. Or is it like something where the material failed them or whatnot?
Yeah. So the biggest problem we encounter is not it's we rarely make mistakes. I mean, like I said, nobody's perfect. We do make mistakes. And FedEx and other carriers can deliver products late, but that's not even an issue. But the issue is, and I would say it's more of this retail world that kind of affects us and uses up a lot of our customer service resources and stuff. Is
Mm-hmm.
these guys don't. There's guys that buy from us that don't know how to rep. We
Mm-hmm.
can't filter. We can't filter all that. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I'm at a point in my business I can't remove that from my business. Like that pays all my bills. The retail world. You know what I mean? And there's no point of removing that because I mean, you got like Cheetah Wrap's an online vending machine for rap. You know what I
Right.
mean? You put money in it, you get this product, and here you go. Thank you. You know what I mean? So like I would never take that away, but it does use up a lot of damn resources because like some guy wraps his hood, I got wrinkles. This 3M is defective. God dang. We got to explain. We got to sit there and explain. No, it's not now. Oh, the customer's always first and the customer's always right. The process. But probably the biggest problem and headache that I think any supplier has is, claims.
Mm.
Claims and filtering through those claims, and some are valid, but a lot are not. You know what I mean? So that's the problem, and that comes with not enough knowledge on installing. I mean, the manufacturers do a real good job, on these products. So, I would say if we get 5 claims, only one of them is valid.
Right.
One or maybe one and a half. Like the material really failed, or this fogginess will not come out with heat no matter what you do. Like because we'll actually we get the product back before we file the claim with the manufacturer.
Right.
We get the product back, we test it, like, all right, yeah, this is valid. So go ahead, ship it, get it claimed. So I would say that's probably the biggest problem with this business.
Yeah, well, it's funny because I watched a recent video you had posted up, and I know you know which one I'm going to talk about with the wrinkle in it, and how you showed
Oh,
that you could put a wrinkle in it, on your desk. You're sitting behind your desk, you're putting a wrinkle in it, you're heating it up, you're putting it down, and you're explaining the process on how to get the wrinkles out because, like you said, you do ship smaller cut rolls of vinyl, and
yeah.
half the time it's gonna get banged up on the end of the roll, or it's whatever the case may be, and people don't understand because it's got a wrinkle in it on the backing paper. You can still heat that out, and it's funny that you brought that up. That I got a wrinkle, I can't get it out, and you're showing them how
Worst
to use it.
nightmare, man.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
crazy,
that stuff's
and it's education at the end of the day. And I love that you made that video because it kind of puts what you do in perspective, and it helps the customer out that may have a question about it and see that video and be like, okay, I'm going to try that first before I call and complain, or like a lot of people do, get on the internet and start bad mouthing the product or the company they bought it from without actually seeing how it actually works, you know?
Right. So like that video, I literally just got pissed and I went, grabbed the camera. I
Mm-hmm.
grabbed my sample girl. I said, come in this office and record me, man. Cause we had so many calls, during the holiday season. You know, all the carriers, they mishandle everything,
Yep.
like I'm looking at my cameras, and you got the guys, they're just taking rolls, not my guys, but
Throwing them.
the ship, they're throwing
Yep.
everything, they're like shoving stuff in there, and that's just one part. Okay, now it went to the sorting facility, and then now it went to the destination, now it got put on that truck that's going to deliver. Man, like, so the products can get a little ding, and we were overwhelmed, like, this is crazy. Like every day I would come into work, and my guys are like, all red and upset. I'm like, what's wrong? They're like, man, this is getting out of control. Like, we're wasting so much time. We could over here be selling product. We have to deal with this bullshit, that this customer's complaining about a wrinkle. And 80% of it is all from eBay, and, because
Yeah.
they have the advantage, like, oh, you're not going to fix this? Negative. Oh,
Right.
you're not going to do nothing. I'm going to file a claim. Oh, so, and that's why that eBay and Amazon shit, it's a nightmare. But like I said, we're slowly trying to pull away from it. But I just have to have, you know I have to have control of that market, because I don't want any competition. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
Yeah, so that's really why I did that video. I'm like, all right, guys, please at least just send this to the customer and let them attempt it. If they still give us a hard time, whatever, swap it out for them. We'll claim it as damage or a loss. But I just I got real pissed, and I wanted to make that video, and you know, I don't know if it's right or wrong to make that kind of video, because some customers might take it the wrong way and be like this guy's trying to make an excuse for sending damaged film. But all I'm trying to do is get the situation resolved for you before you have to wait for more film and send it back, and a headache. So
No,
that's the reason why I made
I mean, I love that you made that video because I knew exactly why you were making that video
that.
because
Yeah.
I could tell in your voice and the way you were explaining and everything. I'm like, damn, he's making this video because he probably got a lot of phone calls about either damaged vinyl or something about wrinkles not being able to get out.
Yeah, I mean, the vinyl's got a little ding. Okay, remove it from the backing, the ding's gone. It's not the vinyl, it's the backing that's dinged up,
Right.
and it's crazy. But again, these are the customers that I'm talking about, like from the retail world. They don't know any better. So they need the education, you know what I mean? And that's my goal. I'm actually, launching a site called Rap Advisor just for these kinds of things, so that, it's just a little educational website that you can go to and kind of, learn about vinyl before you get into it.
Right. Right. Yeah, and tell me about some other stuff you got going on because now being a business owner in the rap industry, you've got a couple other businesses that you're kind of into. Can you talk a little bit about those as well?
Yeah, I mean, I have a training program, the Elite Rappers Training Program, and my trainers are Marcos from Rap Specialties, Matthew Walensky from Phenomenal, James Tate from Tate Designs, and I have Shane from Zero Raps in Hawaii. He helps us out, and Neil helps out sometimes too. Neil from ND Vinyl.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, the Elite Rappers course basically, to shorten things up, we can discuss, Elite Rappers with the crew if you want one day. But it's basically a color change program to teach people how to do color change rap. I just felt I developed the program about 3 years ago. I felt there's no real program out there that teaches color change besides Pate in the Avery class. So I wanted to kind of educate customers a little bit more than just the Avery film, but because there's 3M, there's Avery, and Metro carries a lot of different brands. In these foreign films, they function different. You know what I mean?
Right.
So we like you to play with all these films and kind of learn about them, and maybe you shouldn't use this certain brand on this kind of car because it'll be
Harder
too
to
difficult,
install.
like yeah, be too tacky or something, or use this film for that. And it's just it's a pretty good program. We've trained probably over 350 students, and again, um, a class is about 10 guys. 4 guys should have never signed up. They have no interest in the industry. Again, you can't filter your clientele. It's hard.
Right.
It's hard to filter. It's just a training class. We're not certifying anybody or anything. Then you'll have a couple guys that they're interested, but they don't really focus or pay attention. Then you'll have like 1 or 2 guys, like these guys, whether they took a class or not, they're getting into this business.
Right.
So that's the elite rappers class, and some people, I don't know, they have mixed feelings about it. Some people love it. Like Marco's, well, he has like Matthew, for instance. Matthew has his classes in New York. He's probably trained the most people because that class always fills up. I think he's trained maybe 130 people.
Wow.
I mean, the guy's still growing every day, like, but then I get like emails, hey, you guys are assholes, you're creating competition and this and that. Come on. How if we don't, somebody else is going to do it. You know what I mean? Someone
Right.
else out there. Are we the only ones? We're the only ones because I know how to market, and you're seeing elite rappers everywhere. But like, dig deep. There's about 70 companies that do rap training. You just never heard of them because they're just like a normal shop that tries to make extra money.
Right.
So basically, I don't think it's a bad thing for the industry. I think it's a real good thing. If you're going to have guys getting into this market, at least they know what they're doing. And like Matt is the perfect example because the guy, his business is growing every year. He doesn't have one person that he trained that became a competitor. Marco's class, I mean, he hired 2 guys from the class. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So it creates opportunities and jobs, and again, like I said, the other 6 people, they should have never signed up. You'll get one guy that wants to just wrap his own car. He wants to pay $800 for a class, and then not spend $2,500 on a wrap
Right.
just so he can wrap his own car. But you can't filter these guys out. It's a business. I mean, how are you going to say no to that person? You know what I mean?
Well, it's about
But
education too. At the end of the day, more than anything.
yeah. Yeah, we give them tools, and and it's a very honest class too. Like there's a lot of tools in the market. To be honest with you, they're worthless. I'm not gonna talk about the certain tools, but you don't need a certain squeegee to do only one certain task. You get what I'm saying? Like
Right.
you don't need these things. So we educate them on tools. Yeah, you're gonna find 700 squeegees, but really you only need these 30. Pick 5 of them and you can always wrap a car. You know what I mean?
Right.
Stuff like that. So it's a really good class. We've got really good feedback about it. People send us emails thanking us. Thank you. It was very good class, and especially you're dealing with a shop owner. That's kind of different. You're dealing with someone that owns a shop, but business wise, I mean, this is not really a business, but I have. Rap Local, which is just basically a database for our retail customers to kind of find someone to install the rap they're buying for them.
Yep.
And the installers are not afraid either to install that rap because they know we're reputable. If it came from Metro, they're not buying fake 3M or these other brands of film. It's all authentic film. So that's one thing I have is Rap Local going on. The Rap Advisor is not really a business, like I said. It's just an educational website that it's gonna it's open to the public to post content on there.
Right.
Not necessarily teaching anybody how to rap, but hey, unboxing vinyl or removing vinyl, any little thing like that, that people need help with. And then our print company. I mean, I've had a print company for like 4 years. We do like wholesale printing and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna launch our website, here probably in the next month, and we have a lot of clients that we print for. I run it through a different company though because Metro Restyling is not allowed to really print. So we all of our 3D printed film and our camos that we sell.
Right.
Yeah, so really, I have my other company that me and my brother own, and he prints all the vinyl, and then we sell it to Metro, because once it's a finished product, we're allowed to sell it.
Right. So it's not conflict of interest, so to say.
Yeah, you could say that. I mean, it wouldn't be fair, to be able to. It's not fair, like if the supplier
He's using the own
is,
supply to
we're
resell
not
it.
allowed. Yeah, we're not allowed to use the product. Like, we're not allowed to wrap cars or anything, through this company. But once you sell it to, another company, and they do whatever they want with it, and then sell it back to us as a finished good, then that's okay.
Wow.
So. But yeah, we're gonna launch our site for that. The company's called L1 Wraps, and it's just basically a wholesale printing. But what's crazy is, that company's always been printing on chrome and all kind of crazy stuff. Like 1080 is just you can print on anything. Of course, the manufacturer doesn't approve that, but
Right.
that's how we get our rose gold. We buy it from the L1 Wraps company. And our rose gold chrome that we sell, it's really printed material and then laminated.
Right.
It's printed on Avery, and of course Avery does not approve that, but as long as we tell the customer that, like, look, this film is modified, it's at your own risk, because they don't approve us printing on it. But as long as but that material never has a problem. I mean, it damn near should be printable, because I've never had a problem with printing on chrome.
Wow, that's unbelievable. Yeah. That takes the guessing out of doing it yourself at the end of the day too. If you buy the roll,
Yeah,
buy it already done, and you're all set, ready to go.
Yeah, like I talked to Brandon. I mean, he does the printing there, and he gets it all set up, and I think it took him like 4 days to dial in the proper temperature settings for the chrome so it doesn't buckle. I mean,
Right.
There's a lot to it. Then you have to laminate it. Then if you get a head strike, like, you're literally losing like
forget about
40,
it.
$50,
Easily.
$40, $50 every head strike. So it's crazy.
Now tell me, like, why haven't you grown into the digital printing world? Why only catering to just the color change stuff? Because there's so much more money on that other end, that other side of the token that you haven't taken advantage of, that I think if you added that to it, you could grow, more than 30% a year.
You know what? God bless, all these guys that are selling the film, because they're literally fighting a crazy battle. I mean, they're making pennies on the dollar, trying to keep customers happy with the low pricing. To be honest with you, it's just not. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. You might think, that it'll increase profits, but you're talking low digit margins with that stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
So way more on the color change than there is in the digital media.
It's not
world.
way more. It's not way more. It's just, it's what I know. It's what I know. It's what my team knows. It's what I've grown the business to know. It's just what our brand is known for. You don't want to always step into realms that you're not familiar with, and to be honest with you, if I got into that market, it's a crazy battle, and it's just something I'm not interested in. It's not like we're making a killing off color change. It's still low margins, but anybody has an issue, my staff can answer any question when it comes to color change. But in the digital world, hey, I use this and our presets were set, what's going on with this printer? I'll leave that to the guys that sell printers and sell this material to help their customers with that, because again, I'm all about customer service. I think we won't be a good choice in that field. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, these guys that are selling film, they're selling equipment as well. They have the support. We don't sell equipment. I don't sell printers, so they have more support to help these customers in the system. You know what I mean?
Right. Any big things going on for 2018 for Metro that might change the game a little bit, or adding more products, or what's your big thing for 2018?
I mean, we're always looking for new products and stuff like that. Really, though, I don't know if it's going to be exactly 18. I'm trying to plan out the next location. And that could be, I'm trying to, maybe have a location in Florida or in New York, New Jersey area.
East Coast. Yeah, bring it over
Yeah,
here. We need a metro closer to Boston.
yeah. But, again, like I said, baby steps, because I only have one shot. When I open that facility, let's say in Jersey, and that clientele wants to just try us out and use us, I can't fail them. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't. The first impression is the best, because I know once we serve them and they keep coming back, they're gonna love our service. And it's pricing. It's not always a price battle. You know what I mean?
Right. It's competitive.
We always go back and forth. I mean, you got some customers, they just won't do business with anybody else but us. But then there's some customers that won't even give us a chance, and it's like that. But really, I don't really have a problem with competition as far as price wars and stuff like that. The only real price war I had was like with Icon back in the day. You got a guy that just wanted to sell film. And just selling it at crazy low numbers, just trying to get sales, some numbers that didn't even make sense. But that was like the only time we had a battle. But I mean, maybe that's why, they weren't able to profit. Maybe that's why they're not around or anything, but I don't know. But there's really not that, there's not that pricing issue. I mean, some guys know they pay $10 more from us, some get paid cheaper than other suppliers, but they're happy with it, because they get that service.
Right. Sometimes it isn't the dollar amount. It's the service and everything that comes with that that people buy into. Where do you see the industry going in the next 5 years?
Well, like I said, I can only probably talk about color change because that's my expertise, but I really, really see this color change industry growing. I see maybe in the next 2 to 3 years is, the films, the technology of the films it's probably going to be a lot more advanced than it is right now. I know it's a simple thing. You cast vinyl, air channel, release, slidable adhesive. What else can you do? These guys are smart. These are billion-dollar companies. They'll figure something out and improve these films to be even better than what they are today.
Yeah, color-wise too.
Yeah, color-wise, I wish that they can figure something out with, fluorescent colors and, that last, figure out some kind of technology. I understand the pigments, they're just, the pigment doesn't last, but you got to figure out something, there's got to be some kind of way to preserve that color of the film. Really just, I see the industry growing. Color change is always going to grow. The reason for that is it's one of those businesses that, you open a box and, if you know how to wrap, you wrap a car. Mm-hmm. That's what kind of business color change is. It's not, you don't need a printer. You don't need a laminator. You don't need a graphic artist. You literally, you need to learn your skill, And that's why it's important for people to learn how to wrap the right way, because if they're just wrapping cars for the hell of it and people see a wrapped car, I've heard people, I go to car shows locally around here, mm-hmm. and I hear people, I'm one of them guys that just walks around and I just try to notice stuff. I don't really like mingle too much, but, I hear this guy telling his buddy, look at this shit. Ew, I'll never wrap my car. This sticker looks like shit. You know what I mean? I hate hearing that, Then I'll go educate him and like, listen, this right here was not wrapped correctly. Come here, come look at this car. And I'll show him a car and like, hey, check this car out. Like, tell me if that's paint or wrap. So don't think that, hey, I'm gonna go to Plastidip now because this wrap is peeling. I'm like, because I'll take your Plastidip and rub my nail on it and take it off in a quarter of a second. You know what I mean?
So the Plastidip debate, I love it.
Yeah. So basically, I just see the industry, the color change industry growing and getting bigger and bigger. And what we need to do is create the interest for it. Because really. In my neighborhood, I can't say there's, maybe 1 out of 1,000 cars that I see is wrapped. I can't even say that. I can't say 1 out of 1,000 cars that I see on the road is wrapped.
Right.
And that's bad. I mean, even if it gets to like 1 out of 100 cars is wrapped, that's huge.
Well, that will be the game changer. That will be, as soon as we can figure out how to get more wraps into dealerships or mass produced in the
Hmm.
dealers where people can go in and purchase a car, not like the color, but have the option to change the color prior to picking it up, that's when the market's really hit hard.
Man, I tell people that all the time, and some listen, some say, you know what, I can't go to a dealer because dealers, they have to get a check approved after 30 days. They got to give it to this guy to sign it, that guy to hand it to me, and then this guy to double check it before I get paid. Like some shops don't like pursuing that, but I wish they would.
Yeah.
I mean, the dealers are the ones that can really
Push
blow
it.
this up.
Yeah.
But it's going well. I mean, every year SEMA has more and more wrapped cars,
I
every
agree.
year. I mean, I've been going to SEMA for the last seven years, and I remember, seeing probably 4 cars wrapped back in 2010, like
Mm-hmm.
4, and and now it's like all the cars that are showcased are pretty much wrapped.
Right.
So it's definitely going the right direction. Um, I wish that there was some kind of some way, that you open a mechanic shop, right? You have to have somebody there that's at least a certified mechanic, or you won't even get your building approval. You won't pass inspection or anything
Right.
if you don't have the license. I wish our industry had something like that, just to keep the shops. And I don't want to say they're phony, but they're not educated. They don't know. Like, they just think, yeah, I wrap my friend's car. Now I own a business. I can wrap cars now, and I'm gonna get this building for 1,000, and I'm gonna a month, and I'm gonna charge 1250 for a wrap. You know what I mean?
Right.
This is the kind of stuff that kind of hurts everybody. Now, yeah, I might be selling some vinyl, but again, it hurts the industry. So
I think it hurts
that
the
that
industry.
that
I think it hurts the industry when you don't evolve. You know what I mean? I had this debate with somebody recently, prior to having the podcast being released. But we talked a little bit in detail about this. And if you're working out of your garage or you're working at home, the debate is, and I've talked about this even prior, is that
Mhm.
you don't better yourself after a year or two or even 3 years. You just stay where you are. If you have an employee and you're buying film and you're basically wrapping all the time, like that is your job, well, it's time to go get a shop and pay bills. You know what I mean? You can't always wrap out of your garage at home, make a killing, because then you'll never be looked at seriously at the end of the day. Even if you do good work, like you can never be taken seriously because you're still working out of your house, and it's time to go get a shop. Put a sign on,
Definitely.
put a sign on your building that promotes what you do, and pay bills. That is what helps the industry. Working from home doesn't
Exactly.
help, but I
Exactly.
understand you need to start somewhere. And believe me, I started from home cutting vinyl on my kitchen table for 3 years,
Hmm.
but
Yeah.
I felt more like a business owner when I could have somebody walk into my shop and ask for a service. That's when I knew what success felt like, was when somebody walked in through my door.
Yeah.
That's when I knew, okay, this is legitimate now. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
At the end of the day,
Yeah.
that's just me. That's my partake on that.
Yeah. But if they had something like that in place where, you can only, open this location if there's a certified installer or some kind of something, it'll eliminate a lot of the junk out there, because there is a lot of junk out there.
Oh yeah, I
and
mean,
and I feel the frustration, and I hear it from a lot of our customers. Like, they'll call us and they'll order their vinyl, then they'll sit on the phone. I got this jackass, he's doing this and that. They got pictures of the repairs they're about to do, and but again, this industry is so small. It's not even noticed by any profession. You know what I mean? To to
right.
to actually have some kind of policy put in place, but maybe in the 5 years it gets big, like we think it's going to get, and that will happen.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see why. I mean,
There's nothing wrong with somebody, buying vinyl, doing it themselves at home. I mean, you can't stop that. I
right,
mean,
right,
they're gonna do that. You can buy vinyl anywhere, China, eBay, whatever you want. I mean, it's over there. If we're not selling it, someone else is. So
exactly.
that's not the issue, So do-it-yourselfers will never go away, and they're okay with me. But it's the do-it-yourselfers that don't understand how to rap, that open a shop. Is those are the guys that are hurting, the legitimate shops. But again, you know, there's a lot of leaders out here. They're building brands and they're doing great. Like I service some of the best in the industry, and I love it. Like I just love it. Like
Right.
these guys are, these guys got their shit together. You know what I mean?
Yep.
They're not even worried by that distraction.
Yeah.
Like Matthew's one of them. I mean, the guy's literally training. He trained 150 people within a 5 mile radius of his place, and none of them really opened a shop or did anything. It just they came in, they got some knowledge about vinyl. Whether they only wrap their own car or friends, who cares? But the guy's building a brand and he's getting busier every year.
Yeah, and even if those people take their knowledge and go work for him or work for someone else, that's only
That's
helping
good.
the economy at the end of the day.
Right.
It's getting
Right.
them off of whether it be they're collecting or whatever the case may be, it gets them right back into a job, getting a paycheck.
Right.
Nothing wrong with that. And going
Yep.
back on the dealership stuff, I know that PPF, a lot of paint protective films are now being distributed within dealerships now, and having little shops put guys in the dealerships to wrap vehicles in paint protective film. I don't see why we couldn't go down that route. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As far as the color change
Right.
stuff,
Of course.
I see
Yeah,
that all
like,
up here. All the high-end places, Lamborghini, Bentley, Mercedes, they all have guys in-house that do the PPF installs there. Why?
And window tinting.
And window, yes, and window
Yep.
tinting. Why can't we have a wrap guy in there?
Yeah. Same thing over here. It's
Yeah.
the same thing over here. You have the Lamborghini dealer. They have a package. $7,800 for a full PPF. It's right there. It's an option.
Right.
Which is great. But they still don't have an option for a color change. But these are the things we're going to hope for in the next 5 years. Because when that takes place and rap really starts getting recognized is when all the real money starts coming in.
Exactly. Yeah, Chris, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much for sharing your background on how you started Metro, because I'm not a lot of people actually know how you actually started it, and I give you much respect being a business owner now, being self-taught and going through all those troubles to get to where you are now. It's a great accomplishment.
Yeah, I really appreciate you having me on. Yeah, and hopefully down the road we can have another one of these.
Absolutely. I appreciate that. Thank you. Let everybody know where they could find you on social media as well as your website.
Yeah, so social media, it's, we're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all the good stuff. Our website's metrorestyling.com. My guys here that deal with all of our dealers, and if you're interested in, taking the Metro advantage, you can contact Matt Stump or Zach Karam or Brandon Ankawi. Those are my three lead guys, and they'll be more than happy to even talk with you and get you set up.
Perfect. And how can they get involved in the elite program as well, the training?
Elite Rappers, the website is eliterappers.com. And on that site, we have all of the classes listed on there and with the pricing. And you get about $150 worth of tools, with the class. But if you're taking an advanced class, don't take it unless you've wrapped at least 5-6 cars, because that class gets straight to the point. We're going to go straight to chrome bumpers and door handles and mirrors and door jams, and it's more advanced. So if you don't know the basics, you'll be wasting your money on that class.
Yeah, definitely get into it with the basic first, prior to getting into advanced, just so you know how to work with the material.
Yep.
Chris, it's been an absolute pleasure. I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day to talk to us a little bit on the podcast.
It's been my pleasure as well. Thank you for having me.
I'd like to thank Chris again for taking the time out of his busy day to talk to us a little bit on the podcast. This episode is sponsored by The Wrap Promoter, featuring wraps, graphics, designs, and tools from around the world. To see more, follow at The Wrap Promoter on Instagram and Facebook. For features and advertising, email wrap.promoter@mail.com. I want to take a second to thank all my listeners and supporters as well as sponsors of the podcast. I really appreciate all your support. And if you could, please share, like, and subscribe this podcast if you like what you're hearing. It really helps us out ranking on iTunes. And don't forget, we are also on Google Play, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, and now on YouTube. Please go to our YouTube page at All Wrapped Up Podcast and subscribe to that. We'll be posting some videos soon. Till next time, that's a wrap.